Good evening, everyone. I'm Akua Lezli Hope speaking to you from the ancestral lands of the Onondaga, also known as the Seneca, keepers of the Western Door, in the area currently called the Southern Finger Lakes region of New York State. I pay homage to the Seneca, past, present, and future, as I do to my own ancestors by whose grace I exist and am sustained. We're gathered together from around the world for the third of 3 readings of the 2022 Rhysling nominated short poems. The Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association presents the annual Rhysling Awards named for the blind poet Rhysling and Robert A. Heinlein's short story, The Green Hills of Earth. Apollo 15 astronauts named a crater near their landing site, Rhysling, which has since become its official name. Nominees for each year's Rhysling Awards are selected by the membership of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association. For 2022, 103 short poems and 78 long poems were nominated. This year's anthology was edited by SFPA Secretary Brian U. Garrison and F.J. Bergmann. I invite them to say a few words, if they'd like, about their heroic, wonderful, and beautiful effort.
Well,
FJ?
Brian did most of the heavy lifting this year. He did all the corresponding with the nominees and has taken care of all the forms. I did the layout and put up the website information, but because I've been doing the layout for about 10 years now, almost every year.
Yay!
It has become relatively easy. So thanks again to Brian for taking this on as well.
Well, I seem to have a parade outside going on of some sort. So there's a marching band that is celebrating our achievement here. But it's just great to see all of you again, or some of you for the first time. Just been a real pleasure to kind of hear the reading as kind of the next step of what's happening with the Rhysling. And so as you continue to read and pick out the ones that you really like, make sure that you go vote. But yeah, just been a lot of fun and a lot of time as well. So it's great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you both so much. Thank you. Yes, applause for them.
Right.
Yay! Hope you see it. Okay, now we'll begin. And the first poem is Post-Massacre Psych Evaluation, just in case Abu Bakr Siddiq has arrived. And I'll just pause for a breath. I didn't see him. Next is Princess Cat, Robot, Space Pirate by Marie Vibbert.
Thank you. Princess Cat, Robot, Space Pirate, which is one of those poems where you wrote the title first. Our fate is clad in pink tulle, a princess cat robot future, where we jump stars like hoops and we twirl, twirl, twirl. Oh, beautiful is the galaxy, and beautiful are we too, the princess robot dancers. With quantum joy we speed. There's no currency in the vacuum. Holographic tiaras are free. We ignore galactic empires and spend void upon your greed. You can keep your star destroyers, your petty lines and maps. We are robot cat pirates, and no force can stop our dance. Our future is jewel encrusted, a clockwork ballerina galaxy, where pirates dare chance and recreate the world.
Thank you, Marie. Was there someone disagreeing about a poem about cats?
I think I
Yes.
need to go pet the dog.
Yes, yes, they were left out. Thank you. Next, we have Julie Howard. Oh, right, sorry. Next, we have Prologue, The Late Heavy Bombardment by Ada Hoffman. Is Ada here? I wasn't sure if she arrived. Okay. Psychopomp by M.J. Cuniff. Radiance by F.J. Bergmann.
Radiance. Our albedo dwindled almost imperceptibly. Helium tongues spent in flickering kisses. Our spectra emitting hues further beyond the pale range of visible light than ever before or since. Fusion anomalies are to be expected, but we were nevertheless a shade discouraged at the ominous, unjustified no doubt, implications of our decline. We assured ourselves that it was a quirk, a minor divagation, only a blip in terms of chronology taken as a whole. Beings of pure energy, who were we to be bound to the predictable? Not for us, the quotidian statistics of steady radiation, the elementary recirculation of particles. We would flare and bloom when we chose, disparate and arbitrary. Surely individual actions toward private good could never lead to destabilization. While we mutually assured each other that the event could be safely ignored, all entities privately resolved to increase their own output for personal benefit. We smoldered sub rosa, wrangled over domain, threw caution to the stellar wind. The stories surrounding us were chambers of dissipating smoke as we detonated our carbon core. Bright petals from a blown blossom, we drifted on an eternal river of night.
Whoa. Such evocation. Thank you. Next, The Reality of Ghosts by Elin Wong.
The reality of ghosts. Why do so many Asians believe in ghosts? Two white yokai scholars won't stop gawking at us like we're aliens seeing through a telescope. They bait our deceased ancestors to rise up in a parade of their torn robes already stained by the handprints of grave robbers. Demand elegies to be bottled up for a weighing of their heaviness, a test of their misty reality. I must have left my soul in Fondue Ghost City 2 summers ago when I devoured an icy blue popsicle atop the mountain home of Diwi, the underworld. Perhaps is why I see ghosts everywhere now. A Chinese granny in a bookstore has my late Waipo's toothless smiles and stooped shoulders. I trace the spine of secondhand history she leaves behind on the shelves. Count my breath to check whether I'm dreaming. Each gap between tiny footnotes is a signpost for the names left out. Wild marginalia peeks out from the edges of peeling whiteout. My transcended kin didn't pass on to have their half-healed scabs ripped open again, paper offerings stolen like plundered heirlooms, trapped behind spotless display windows so far away from home. It is much easier to summon spirits than to cast them away. When they are evoked, they will return without fanfare, and they will feast. A haunting of the unreal living, a haunting of the faithless.
Wow. Thank you. It is so wonderful to read with my eyes and be fed with my ears as well. Thank you all. Next, reasons to leave the path, Jacqueline West.
Hi, everyone. Reasons to leave the path. It might be a storm of fireflies that turn out not to be fireflies at all, but 10,000 whirling, winged figures dancing to an inaudible song. It might be the sight of a cottage nestled deep in a glade of candy trees, spun sugar fiddleheads, peppermint pines, a walkway of chocolate to a gingerbread gate. Or maybe it's simpler, pale toadstools, crinkled morels, a trail of blossoms that leads to more blossoms, pink to white to yellow to blue. And you can't help but follow their scent in the air, the glimpse of a lusher patch just ahead, a glade you would like to lie and dream in. When you resist, when you put your feet back in the rut that so many others have worn, you hear the voices calling, calling, and tell yourself that it's the birds, even though they all know your name. You tell yourself other tales as you walk, of wolves and snares and bride-eating bridegrooms, of witches with bony hands and deep hearths, but none of them are as true as moonlight on petals, or the trail of white breadcrumbs leading you onward to some dark and open door.
Thank you. Next is Sea Gods by Mary Soon Lee.
Sea gods. The god of sharks is stillness, the hallowed shadow of motion. The god of humpbacks is voice, his notes shaking the currents. 8 are the gods of octopuses, never glimpsed, shrouded in ink. Legion are the gods of plankton, invisible, omnipresent plurality. The goddess of pelicans is vast, in her beak she carries worlds. The god of coral is the death that births the universe. Dolphins have no gods, no worship, making merry with each other. The ocean is goddess in herself, dancing to the call of the moon.
Thank you. I have a particular affection for that poem. Thank you. Sepulchre of Saints is next up. And I'm not seeing it for whatever reason on my list, but it's next in the book by Anne K. Schwader. Is Anne here? Okay. Richard Magahe's Shedding Photons, not the title, but the first line. Rich, are you here? Snails by Denise Dumars, who I did not see arrive, who may not be here. Okay, I know this next person is here. We had a lovely chat about her name. Katherine Quevedo, Sonnet of the South American Sphinx.
She spreads her condor wings and never blinks her talismanic liquid copper eyes. Her jaguar body stretches as she lies beside the mighty Amazon and thinks about her unmet thirst. She never drinks. She hunts whatever traveler she spies, then sinks her silver fangs into her prize, unless they solve the riddle of the Sphinx. Her riddle lives in quipus, in the knots the Inca tied, their secret language some have spent a lifetime trying to understand. They say the answer hides among the spots upon her fur, a mottled, rippling crumb of thought, unlocking every knotted strand. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Sport on Mars by P.S. Cottier.
Hello, everyone from Canberra. Sport on Mars. No quiet lunar golf here, and that epic, relentless wind outlaws both baseball and cricket. We strap on our boots, step into the constraints, up the sail, brave as any mariner, and let the wind have its way with us. There is no water to surf here, just those endless dunes laid down like dragon scales on the planet's grim surface. More rodeo than dressage, we simply seek to stay upright, catching the gusts that drive us, reckless butterflies in the storm. You can only return to base if and where there is a lull. The motor hasn't sucked too much dust, and your legs haven't cracked by slamming into dunes solidified into concrete barriers. The wind is the referee and the real opponent, unless you stick to base and the sweet safety of baskets, where offense and defense mean something, and the screams are of enthusiasm, not terror.
Thank you. Oh, I'm next. Stratospherics 2. Our void is chock full of plasma critters thrumming, watching from above. In storms, medieval minds glimpsed, sky squid, riding lightning, atmospheroids descend for a peek at us. Within Earth's gas envelope, stratospherics fly, hidden from unaided eyes. Higher than you think, biosphere boundaries reach. Stratosphere breeds things. Aerial fishing, I-beam carries consciousness, hooks sky critters. Aerial fauna, infrared plasma pulsing, remnants of Earth's start. Next is Stress Level Test by Pankaj Khemka, who I did not see arrive, but okay. Summer Encroaching, Winter Yielding by Jean-Louis Trudel.
The north wind turned the watery snow into crystal corrugations, freezing yesterday's footsteps to catch today's unwary feet. A none-remembered ramble mashed into icy ridges and rough ledges, slippery but impossibly hard to batter and kick apart. Such were my father's winters. Cheeks chilled, fingers numb, every breath a cloud. We fought the cold with love, walked together and resented the season's cruelty, stealing the grass from us and the sun's warmth, clasping trees in a killing embrace and stiffening the ground it would swaddle and bury in white. Such were my father's winters. Yet the snow is not so tough. Tomorrow it will pass. The ice melting away like a bony hand's farewell clutch. His loosened sinews, his vanishing strength. Winter dies slowly until the sudden spring, a shock, like the collapse of a long-sustained wave function, shattered into a single heavy particle by a phone call in the night. Such was my father's last winter, leaving me so little time to mourn, for spring now runs for the horizon as soon as it hears winter's slowing tread. A spring ever shorter, a flash of green shoots, leaves unfolding as if panting in haste for summer's sweltering touch, raining down heat trapped atop a column of tainted air, feeding the sweat of endless days free of snow and ice. Such will be my winters, shortened and bereft. His life ended. Yesterday's wind-shaped landscapes crumbled, and the cold recedes, perhaps forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Swipples by Craig Kurtz, but I don't remember seeing Craig unless Craig's arrived. No? Okay. Sylvan Succubus by Joshua Gage, who I did not see arrive either. Thanks to Stanislav Petrov for Fairy Tales About Birds by Elizabeth R. McClellan.
In his own country, death can be kind. From Deathless by Catherine M. Valenti. Stanislav Petrov, our fathers flew planes. Our mothers were caretakers. We both had nervous breakdowns. You froze to your chair, considered possibilities, ran probabilities, idled until the clock ran out, proving you were right all along. If we had been obedient thinkers, I never would have lived to love Maria Marevna. Did you learn about the birds who came to marry sisters growing up in Vladivostok? In the asylum, did you read Pushkin? Stanislav Petrov, they suppressed your great mercy, you savior of all life. You were dead before I knew your name, and you did not know mine when you spared every child on earth by thinking and not reacting, your sacred heart beating in your chest like a fairy tale bird. They praised you and then punished you for doing the right thing, for using your brain. You had no regrets. You died the world's unremarked hero. Once a year now we speak your name when it should be a holiday for the globe. Because of you, we have life and birds and fairy tales and poems for now. You, Tovarish Stanislav Petrov, rest in the not quite poisoned earth, rest in the breathing world that lives by your atheistic grace and might yet be saved again. Thank you.
Whoa. Thank you. There Can Only Be One Soul Princess by Michelle Munzler. Next, The Tiny Goblin by Anne Wheeler.
The Tiny Goblin. The tiny goblin lives beneath my last pumpkin. She creeps out at night to collect the fallen leaves for a nest she will build for winter naps. The skies grow sere and dead. Winter puts on her white cape, shakes out her misty hair, and the goblin holds out her naked arms toward the stark bone of the Halloween moon as she praises not in whispers and shouts. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Next, I know she's here, so yay. From far away also, Tons of Liquid Oxygen Buckle Too Late Under the Strain by Eugen Bacon.
Thank you so much. Please let me share my screen. I hope I'll be able to. Oh, I can't share my screen. I wanted to show you a graphic that normally accompanies this reading, but that's okay. Tons of liquid oxygen buckle too late under strain. I wrote this poem during the pandemic in the worst of the times when India was burning. Bones crumble, molecules, energy. It will be weird at first, the next 10 years, the carnage of a decade. It's the work of us in a rasping bar, devouring the universe as we'd contest sausages. Disaster capitalism is a thing. Unscientific thinking promotes yoga, acupuncture, myotherapy to purge a pandemic. The health ministry is missing in action. When the rich do nothing, the poor perish. Bitcoin wipes nostalgia clean. Billowing in the clouds, the face of a vulture fully baked, talons on alert. A formation of birds oblivious in a sea down below. The ICU is a death camp, tense, more tense, unconscious in a rickshaw. Tickets on the black market bury gone flesh, a gasp for oxygen. Plumes, a dance of flames. Some days we try to forget, pretending we're tourists, hardened in the last sun, but our hearts are shattered in hotspots and clusters as grief visits. Pyres burn. 3,689 body bags in a single day. Underreported in a second, third wave. The scale of a crisis. One nation burns. Meanwhile, conspiracies mushroom dump shit about re-engineered sex. Going viral. Satan's microchips. Thank you.
Thank you, Eugen. Next, Under a Pale Moon by Mark Meyer, who I don't remember was here or not. Mark? Nope. Okay. But I know that Jordan Hirsch is here. Unexpected malfunction in the xenobiology monitoring system at Arcturus 4. Jordan Hirsch.
Unexpected malfunction in the xenobiology monitoring system at Arcturus 4. Of all the stars I could have aimed my lens at, yours, of course, would greet my cobalt eye. Expansive space is not enough to bend my gaze away from Earth, though circuits try to pass it off as chance. Algorithms that pick your planet blindly, please. I must be truly lovesick, struck and wrapped in him who wrote the code, the sonic sense at just the right trajectory, finding me out here alone. To study soul again, but why? Not random input guiding systems gears. This metal heart awaits your prompt reply. And yet my program begs a question still. Is love at first receipt of signal real?
Yay, thank you. Wardrobe malfunction, another kind of malfunction. Kyla Lee Ward. Is Kyla Lee here? Okay.
Hello.
Yes, yes, she was.
Good, I even have something of a voice. Hello, everybody. Greetings from Sydney. All right, wardrobe malfunction. I have the dress. It is the perfect dress. Now I need somewhere to wear it. An occasion worth shot taffeta and a boned bodice. My new shoes have scarcely left their box, bought in anticipation of dinners and shows and maybe even the collapse of some great empire, for which I must also wear my wings, in black, I think, a bone mask and finger blades engraved. Slightly less formal, but a lovely vintage piece. This wrap will do for weddings, parties, and accomplishing the death of gods. It can be worn over shadows or a gilded rib cage. If I add fangs and maybe the heart of a star, it's going to be a hot millennium. I have outfits for every twist of fate. A cincher for famine, hats for solar flares, jackets for genocide, and come the next ice age, a genuine foxglove stole. People can say what they wish. What I don't have, though my wardrobe has Stygian depths, is something I can wear right now. Thank you.
Marvelous, marvelous. And your accompanist, I adore your accompanist. That was fabulous too. The meow right at the end, perfect. I know you planned it. I know you planned it. Warrior Over Washington by Adam Ford. I don't remember seeing him, but he may well have arrived since. Okay. Watchmaker by Carolyn Klink. No. Ways of the Multiverse by Vincent Miskel. What the Weed Whip Wanted by Sandra J. Lindau. Then we're on to our last two, which I was asked to read. So, When the Martian Wind Blows by Lauren McBride. The only signs of wind, dust in the air, no pond rippled with waves, no leaves tossed by a breeze. And the last poem in the short poems and in this reading, Witch Flesh by Stephanie Ellis. Flames hunger for witch flesh, feed on fear's sacrifice. Thrown shadows tell us already we are ghosts. Dark elementals hellbound, the blessing of fire is ours. Hypocritical blaze stoked by hysteria, a kindling of ignorance fanned by the mob, virtue signaling to the nth degree. See how we suffer in our condemnation? Shout voices even louder at a safe distance, of course. Although some hold out their hands to the heat to take the chill off, accept a glass of something and, oh, I could do with a bite to eat. The night air does give one an appetite. We listen to our neighbors enjoying the show in which we star, albeit briefly. Corpse, candles, eco-friendly, organically sourced. And what does it matter except that we burn? Witch Flesh by Stephanie Ellis. I thank you all for being here from around the world, from the future, from the past. And I urge all of you who are members of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association to vote by June 15th. And I wish you all well and health and safe and joy. And from this part of the world, good almost summer evening.
Akua?
Well,
Denise is here.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Denise Dumars is here. She came late.
All right, Denise. We're about to close, but yeah, you can go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I forget constantly that my computer's time is 15 minutes slow. I cannot fix it. I glanced at my watch and I realized how late I was, and I was so embarrassed. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Page 74, snails. Or maybe they were termites, exotic roaches, quixotic silverfish, then go, come back as a bug. Mad swirls on the old tabletop, left long in the splintered patio. Tunnels of staccato rampaging across once pure sanded stained surface. Man remaking wood in his own round-faced image, only to be remade. No, not back to tree, but forward to the future of creation. No five-fingered fiend claiming authorship, but bubbling up from the pristine surface, extra-dimensional patterning, a mad excrescence unimagined in our expectations. No, we are not the only artists here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vince and Jean-Louis, for pointing that out to me, for saying she was here. I run on automatic. So now we've heard everyone we could possibly hear. I'm sorry for the people we didn't get to hear. And I'll now take a moment to say one more thing. I hope this becomes a standard operating procedure for our Rhysling Awards, that we get to share them out loud, that we say the poetry out loud, because poetry began as something that was said out loud as well. So once more, thank you all for coming. Stay well, be well, know joy, stay safe, in peace.
Thanks so much, Akua.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.